So anyhow, there's only a few weddings that I've been to that I actually kind of remember anything about. They all kind of blend together, really. But there was one that I'll never forget. I was living down in the state of Georgia, and I was dating a Georgia peach at that time. Not an actual peach, but that's what they call a pretty Georgia girl. Anyway, so this young lady invited me to her cousin's wedding. I think it was her cousin's wedding. That part I don't remember. And it was out in the boonies, well outside of Atlanta. And it was in this old wooden church out in the middle of nowhere. I really can't remember what town it was in. It looked like it was the only building in town that Sherman had spared during his march to the sea. So I went to this wedding with my girlfriend, and it was a very hollow sounding church. It was all wood. The floors were all wood, and there's no carpet at all. None. And so every time he took a step, it was like echoey, And it was very kind of rural Southern, if you will. And me being a Ohioan was like, what the hell is this? So we're sitting there, and I was probably in my mid-20s. I was at this age when weddings made me very nervous because I didn't want to get married, And everybody I went out with, I sort of was like paranoid. She wants to marry me. Probably not. And by the way, they're lucky they avoided that. But at this particular wedding, things were getting started, and there was a photographer there. Actually, it was a photographer and his assistant. And the photographer was this guy, kind of hippie looking, real long hair, mustache and beard. He's dressed, in a, I don't know if it wasn't a tux, but it was like a white shirt and a black tie and slacks. He was trying to look all churchy. But of course, he looked like, he just came over from Woodstock. And then there was his assistant, who was an albino. Yep, that's right. She was a young girl, probably late teens, early 20s. So was he, by the way. And she was an albino. And she was dressed in black. So she had this blonde hair, and she was an albino, white, and dressed in black. Nice contrast, if you will. And I'm just like, I was fighting back the giggles the whole time, not because of her, but a lot of the people that came in, the ladies with these big hats on, and the fans, it's like, it's not even hot in there. It's like, I'm just like, what time warp did I just walk into, right? I was really having trouble with the giggles, those situations make me giggle. And so I'm sitting there, and the service begins, and I can't remember what was happening in the service, but at one point, all of a sudden, the dude's tripod fell over. And you heard it sort of, and because of the echo, it was just this loud, it sounded like a bomb went off. And I'm sitting in the back, and all these people with the hats and everything like turn around slowly. And I'm like, oh, jeez. So I turn around to see what went down, and just on cue, just to prove that chivalry is not dead, the dude photographer makes a beeline for the door, like heads out the back. I don't know what his plan was. I guess he was going to address the situation, but he didn't pick up the equipment, and he leaves the poor albino girl standing there smiling embarrassed. And that was the end for me. I just started cracking up. I mean, it was just, visually it was so damn weird. I was like, I gotta get the hell out of this place. So yeah, weddings on a few occasions are memorable, and almost always for the wrong reason. I just can't make my mind up.